out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
Most amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California has won the big game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnett.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vine, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Hey, good morning. How are you? Here on a Tuesday. Hope you're well. Glad to have you with us. Here on the program, BDST on YouTube, episode 32. Hit us up on the professional door text line, 540-391-0788, or in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room. Hit us up right there. Good morning, Paul. How are you? Stuff to get to today. Marva in Miami joins us. Talk some North Carolina football. And Brian Seagla from the Boundary Corner podcast here today. Mike Burnett is traveling, so no Mike Burnett today. He's out of town doing a function with Bill Roth. A lot of things get you updated on. Of course, things we told you were going to happening. I hope it's one of the reasons you tune in. With Virginia Tech, the money is going to happen. Looks like, $90 million a year over the course. Good news all the way around yesterday for Virginia Tech athletics. We put everything up on our Facebook page. The recommendation, and it looks like it's going to be signed off on. And it was kind of a foregone conclusion. And it probably had a lot to do with the fact there hasn't been any conversation about the future of Whit Babcock beyond he just won't have anything to do with football. So that's a good look on Whit, and it's a good look on everybody at Virginia Tech. So the money's going to be there for the next phase of what happens with Virginia Tech football. And something we told you when the SEC went to 9 games, of course, you had Jim Phillips, the commissioner of the ACC, come out and say, we're very happy with our 8-game schedule. Just stop. If the SEC and the Big Ten are going 9 games, the ACC is going 9 conference games. And they announced yesterday, shocker, that they're going 9 games. The ADs agreed. So now all the Power 4 leagues are going to line up. Not a surprise. 9 conference games. As part of the new scheduling model, league teams will now be required to play those 10 overall Power 4 games, which is really good for you and me as fans. And most teams begin playing 9 conference games plus 1 Power 4 game next year. So that's 10 of your 12 games. And hopefully, you won't have 2 Woffords on many future schedules. So that'll be good. So Jim Phillips had made his first statement and then yesterday said the ADs overwhelmingly supported the change from 8 conference games to 9. Conversations about moving to 9 games ramped up after the SEC made the decision to move to 9 league games last month. You don't say. Shocker. It's going to happen in the SEC, Big 10, Big 12 as well. So that'll be good. That'll be good for everybody. It's never made any sense. The whole Jim Phillips trying to figure out the schedule has never worked. Remember when they did the 3 teams, the 3 annual teams, and they originally left out Miami, and just nonsensical. What was it? Was it NC State and Wake were left off? It's just like, what were you looking at? And when you see things like that, and then you see this contradiction, it kind of makes you wonder about the leadership in that conference, to be perfectly honest with you. We already know that. So the formal adoption of the new 9-game conference schedule is going to be presented this week, and you'll have it. And I think that it'll help Virginia Tech going forward, without question. It'll help Virginia Tech going forward. But the big news, again, for, Tech fan and all the folks involved is the fact that the money is not going to be an issue. So they won't have that crutch any longer with everything that's going on. $229 million is going to be the new ask over 4 years. Now, I'm not great at math. It's around $70-something million per year. The Board of Visitors is going to hold their virtual meeting September the 30th, and that was the meeting, of course, we had told you about, that to consider the adjustment, and then maybe something else news-wise comes out of Blacksburg. The current athletics budget, as you know, 122 ranks number 14 in the ACC, something Whit Babcock pointed out. The number needed to get closer to $200 million. This will do that. Football funding, its current $41 million, trails behind that of Clemson, Florida State, and North Carolina among the public schools. But the materials that were released yesterday do not include how much more football will get as part of the overall budget increase. It'll be at least 90 or more percent. We know that. This is being done for football primarily. So there you go. So Virginia Tech, we again, it's not a surprise, but it's good to see that everybody is understanding that this had to be something that happened. So you're going to have everything in place. I get inundated every day, which is great. I love hearing from everybody. It means a lot that you're taking the show with you throughout the day, thinking about it, especially on our professional door text line. People are asking me about the next head coach, and I don't know what to tell you. Everybody keeps asking about it, and you see all these sites, and I understand the fun of it and the speculation of it. I get it, but we're putting the electric eel before the octopus. Without the committee and not understanding how they're going to do the general manager position, I think everybody's just so desperate to have a coach named, and that's not rushing into this and trying to figure out who it's going to be. I know it might be fun, but it's not reality. That makes sense? So I don't speculate. If you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. I've given you my opinion on some of the people I would like, and I've told you some of the people that I were told that's not interested. Names that keep popping up on these lists, like Dan Mullen, I've already been told by someone who shares his agent he's not interested. But hey, let's put it out there in the ether and let's get clickbait. Let's get people to click. And John Sumrall at Tulane, apparently not interested. Now, can all that change if all of a sudden Virginia Tech's saying they're going to pay a coach $10 or $12 million because of the new money? I mean, money talks. Money will sell. People will sell their soul for money. Finding that out more and more. So, sure, things can change, but as of right now, there isn't a leading candidate. And I see some sites saying, here's the hot board. There's no hot board. They don't have a committee. How could there be a hot board? Just because agents are telling you things and putting things out there, that's their job. They're going to do that to clients. They're going to release little things, little contacts they've made with schools. It doesn't mean any of it's factual. So I don't speculate on it until we get things in place in order. I'm curious to see the next step. We knew the money step was going to be next, and it's good. It's awesome. Once the formal announcement comes, then you'll start, I think, seeing it pick up a little bit with how they're going to get the committee. I've heard there's a lot of people that are trying to be on the committee. How big is it going to be? Is it going to just involve people just because they don't want to leave a certain category out? I don't know what that would accomplish. I don't know that. I'm just speculating. I wonder. Like, are there going to be people on the academia side that want to be on the committee that know nothing about vetting a potential new college football coach? If they do go the route, which I think is a big mistake, of hiring the GM first, how's that change the dynamic? Is the GM just going to sit there and wait for the committee to name the coach, and then you're going to start the process of getting all these things, all your ducks in a row? That seems to me to be taking an immediate step back. That's why I think, in my opinion, you would go committee if that's the route you want to go. I don't have a problem with a committee. That's fine. I sure as heck don't want Witt choosing the next football coach. Neither should you, Tech fan. But if it's a committee, let the committee hire the coach and let the coach bring in his GM. That would be my preferable or preferred route. But it doesn't appear as if that's the way it's going to go. Again, though, that can change as well. And it's going to depend upon the personality of the coach. You might have some younger coach who really doesn't care about who he's working with and feels like he can make it cohesive. And a lot of times that will work. You know, there are times that in the NFL, the GM doesn't know a whole lot about the head coach until they do an interview, may know a little bit about him, bring them in, and then they end up hitting it off. It doesn't happen a lot. Usually the GMs have a prior relationship of some kind, either with the coach or the family or something. But a lot of times it's just like, hey, I didn't know this person. And then a lot of times you get how many times has it not worked in the NFL where you have a GM that says it's my way or the highway, you're the coach, you coach the team, you let me do my thing. And then they end up butting heads a year or two later, and either the coach or the GM or both are gone. And you don't want that if you're Virginia Tech when you're adapting this new professional model. The last thing you want is to have immediate, I won't say friction, but inconsistency of cooperation. So that's why I would go committee, figure out who it's going to be, vet coaches, get a good pool of candidates. You know, money's not going to be a problem now. Coach, come on in here. We're going to use the general manager model. Let's work together. Maybe the coach could work together again then with the same committee to hire the GM. That to me makes sense, but we'll see how it all shapes out. But you see, my whole point of this diatribe is this. None of that is in place yet. Nothing has been constructed. This was the first thing yesterday. And then you have to wait 2 more weeks for it to be officially implemented. And now you can budget for it once it's signed off on, which it will be signed off on. There's no drama there. I had a couple people ask me, would they turn down this amount? No, this amount's there for a reason. This amount was there because they realized this is the amount they can do over that 4-year span. So it's going to happen. So all the talk of money, this will help get Tech more into the modern age of things, will be out the door. So then it comes down to the people that you're paying a lot of money to make the right decisions going forward for this next stage of Virginia Tech football. As we get into very soon, it's going to be here sooner than you think, the new contract realignment with the TV networks, and then you're going to have the conference realignments one more time. So Virginia Tech needs to position itself, put itself in a position of strength as quickly as possible, get established. They're going to have that financially because you want now your brand, you want your program to start, even if the wins aren't coming like they used to, and maybe they will. Maybe it'll come sooner than later. Look at Indiana and Kurt Signetti. So, but they need to position themselves as best as possible because there is going to be movement amongst the conferences. It's not if the ACC is going to be gutted. It's which teams are going to go to the Big Ten, which teams are going to go to the SEC, and which ones are going to be left over maybe to grab a hold of a spot or two in the Big 12. Yeah, Prometheus, the money it's not officially in hand, but it may as well be. They have to go through the process. And since they don't, the scheduled meeting was September 30th, end of the month, then that's when it'll be officially voted on. But the money is going to happen. That's why the proposal came. Will Stewart has said it. Andy Bitter has said it on this program. Chris Coleman said it from the next sideline. This whole thing of going to the board was just kind of done for the public anyway. Like these things were already basically decided behind the scenes, which I thought was very interesting that they said that. But that's interesting to me. It's very interesting to me. I'm changing my little bubble there. There we go. I like the little bubble. See right here where it says my name? Right there. I like the little bubble there. So, yeah, the money is in hand in about 3 weeks. But you're right. Right now, it's not in hand. Hey, look, you're proud of me. I remembered to put the chat up early today. The McClellan Chiropractic chat room. Well, I thank our sponsors here as we get started. Family Fencing, sponsor of our studio. Give them a call. People are starting to love the idea of somebody coming in and giving you the privacy you want or fencing in a certain area. Call the experts, Family Fencing, 540-200-8294, familyfencingnrv.com. Go get your back cracked over at McClellan Chiropractic in our chat room. It's going to be a lot of fun when I go over there and get my back cracked. I'm anticipating feeling like a new human being. Thanks to Travis Williams, Professional Door Incorporated, right here, 540-391-0788. Professional commercial garage doors, family owned and operated, 38 years in business, right across from New River Community College. Thanks to Larry Ramsey, the exclusive banking partner, BDST, National Bank. They are the best. And I've been with them for 35 years. The attorney, Ryan Pry, down in Radford, 701 West Main Street. He sponsors our BDST Man Question of the Week. And he also contributes some great comments throughout the course of the program. The question is this week, and we've gotten already over 40 responses, which is awesome. Thank you. How many ACC games does Virginia Tech win? Of course, the schedule gets underway this Saturday night down in Raleigh against North Carolina State. And Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. Charles Lee and Company, I see their vans driving around all over the place because they're very popular, because they're very honest. He started the company because Charles wants to make sure he's honest with customers and not try to jack up prices and rates. And it's very important that you have that 100%. And they take care of you the best way possible. And we're presented every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Jonathan Sweet, Tim Miller, thank you so much. Good morning, Rodney. How are you? Morris says, morning, big dog. Rakovich, I know, and he is a cerebral guy. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And as you will ever meet. If they didn't have commitment from donors for the 30 mil or most of it, they would never have put this out. Ding, 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 chicken dinner, or winter, winter chicken dinner, Morris. Absolutely. And it falls in line with everything that, Will and Andy and Chris Coleman said. Come on. So, yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. But keep in mind, it's just the first step. Now that you have the money, what are you going to do with it? Now, I don't mind coming on. I've told you the kind of like to see be the head coach. I think it has to be a former head coach. I don't think they mess around with the coordinator's role again. So I think you can eliminate some of the speculation from some coordinators. Some sites are still throwing out. But I think that's going to be a thing. Does that mean it has to come from a group of 5? Well, not necessarily. It could come from a coach who's been a Power 4 coach who might be at a group of 5 school. Could be. But I don't have a list formulated yet because they don't have a committee in place. Tebow, you mean the coach of the Dolphins, Mike McDaniel? Let's hope not. Is that the Mike McDaniel you mean? The guy who's about to get fired from the Dolphins. For me, this is a good point you make. I think the number they're throwing out is to keep interest. It is, but it's a real number. It goes back to what Morris said. But here's the point. You're right. It's hard to trust people after the past 10 years. Absolutely it is. Absolutely. I get it, man. If you're a tech fan, investor, fan, whatever you are, yeah. 100%. They've got to earn your trust back. No question. I think what people do, Tebow, his name came up on another place that covers tech. Okay. You have people, and I don't know who you're talking about, and I'm not criticizing anybody, but, you have people who kind of read the headlines. All you got to do is pick up a Miami paper and realize that he's on the hot seat. Oh, he's going to be fired soon. Boy, he'd be great in Blacksburg. Why? Never coached college football. He's never been around it. He's not going to be a successful NFL coach. Why would you want that guy even on your list? And why would he have any interest? He's been in NFL. Well, he started out in the Denver organization as like a ball boy or an intern. He's been around the NFL his whole life. And I know college football is going to an NFL model in a lot of cases, but no, that would not win. That would not win over a lot of people, I don't think. He doesn't have the respect of his players. I think the way he carries himself, he just comes across as a guy who really just is out there. I don't know what's going on there with him. But no, I don't believe that'll be a legitimate thing that happens. But again, we have at least 3 months to play this game. Right? At least 3 months. And there are going to be people who are going to jump all over certain sites who continue to get clickbait and so forth. Text message, what does the ACC need to do to stay together? There's nothing they can do to stay together because it's out of their hands at that point. The money is going to be so great, this whole rights thing is going to be by the wayside, and they don't control anything that's happening in college football. The ACC under Jim Phillips is a follower. It's not powerful enough of an entity. It doesn't have anything in place to alter the power structure other than the schools who are already in it that other teams know is going to finally put them in the final TV bracket that they've wanted the entire time. I mean, they just showed it. Everybody else going to 9 games. They acted like they weren't going to go to 9 games. Just don't even release a statement. And then what happened yesterday, which we told you. Of course they're going to 9 games because they're following. They're followers. And when you're a lapdog, you can't go out and start barking at the critters that come in the backyard because the critters are just going to look at you like, just stop. And that's the thing. The ACC has no control over what's going to happen because the SEC and the Big Ten run everything. And you're going to find that out here probably a couple, 3 years. It's going to happen. And then the ACC's new look isn't going to be something that a lot of the schools that are still in the league are going to want to be part of. And there's nothing against any of these other schools, but I mean, who are you going to replace? Miami, Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, et al. With that's going to help the ACC try to salvage any kind of relevance whatsoever? Who's left? Memphis? Is that what you're going to do? Tulane? But the ACC just follows. They've never taken the bull by the horns because they've never been in a position to do that. much like the Big 12, who have been a lot more aggressive. Yormark, the commissioner, he likes to do a lot of posturing, and that league has made a lot more strides financially over the long haul than the ACC. Paul says, and don't even mention basketball. I believe the SEC has now surpassed the ACC. Yeah. The money level for the SEC, Paul, it's showing up in other sports, and it's shown up in basketball the last several years. I mean, if the Big 12 is the quintessential league, which it has been, I think you can definitely make the case the SEC has jumped over the ACC. I mean, it's a league that's trying to survive its relevance. It's trying to stay relevant any way it can in the meantime. And I think it's struggling. Good morning, Steve. How are you? You Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket, you. Yankee Steve. Boo. How many ACC games will Georgia Tech win? All right, let's play the Georgia Tech go by the schedule game, Steve-O. We did that with Virginia Tech yesterday. Let's go to your beloved Ramblin' Wreck, who I'm a big fan of. I love your coach, and I love your quarterback. All right, you're going to win at Wake Forest on the 27th. That's this weekend, all right? That's a dub. Virginia Tech, sorry, Hokies, that's a dub. You go to Duke. Now, that'll be interesting. Duke will be tough. Down in Durham. That's one of those gotcha games. You might lose that one, Steve-O. I think you beat Syracuse in Atlanta. They don't have the quarterback. He's done. NC State on the road. I think you'll win at BC. You'll beat Pitt. You'll lose to Georgia. That's not an ACC game. So let's see what we got here. It's math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You might win 6, Steve. I got you for 6. If you can keep Haynes Keene healthy. There's the big kicker. Prometheus, they came up with the numbers because that was the proposal that was made by Whit Babcock. And then they agreed on how the budget would look and what it would need to look like over the long haul. That's where the numbers came from. So they didn't just grab these numbers out of the air. If a football national championship comes from the ACC this year, will it help keep it together? No. All that will do will expedite the desire from the SEC or the Big Ten to take that school. It will help those leagues be more motivated to make the push to add teams. For instance, it's been long, rumored Miami and Florida State both. Clemson's not winning a national championship. But however it might end up, one of those schools win it. I don't think either one are going to win it. But Florida State's already put itself ahead of the conference. Remember that 2 years ago? Nobody else mattered. We're stepping on bodies as we climb up. I wrote about it in the Patriot. We're our brand. Everybody watches our games. They're correct. They're the highest watched brand in the conference. And then they got left out of the championship game. And then they went 2-10. And everything got quiet there, didn't it? But now here they are, number 8 in the country. I don't know whether they're going to break through or not this year. We'll see. They're off to a good start. They have one really nice win. They go to Virginia. I think that's a decent test for them. I think it's going to be a pinball machine game on Friday night. A lot of points. I don't believe UVA will go to the SEC, Paul. I think UVA is earmarked for the Big Ten. The connections I have heard about UVA is the Big Ten, along with North Carolina. Now, can that change? Sure. Sure it can. But we'll see. We'll see. The UVA brand is sought after, and it extends beyond the playing fields clearly. But yeah, UVA's always been out in the ether as somebody that was desirable. It has. Witt is not the one saying it, Prometheus. This came from higher ups. This came from higher ups. Witt just made the proposal. What happened yesterday was not from Witt Babcock. And then all the questions will be answered in 2 weeks, and we'll see what the amount ends up being. Hey, good morning, Anthony. How are you in our McClellan chat room? Boy, people lighting us up on the McClellan chat room and the professional door text line. That's what it's all about. Sponsors, you should jump on. By the way, I'm still blown away. We got the 500 subs. It's free, by the way, in a month. If I get to 1,000, the show is guaranteed to survive for 3 years on YouTube. They don't mess with you. So, Chad Hyatt, our athletic trainer, had a great idea. If everybody who is subscribed, and it's over 500 now, gets one person to subscribe, then that gets us to 1,000. So please work on at least one person. Show them it's free. Show them the channel. Because getting to 1,000 would be a different vibe. So I know it seems like a lot, and I'm not trying to be greedy, but I'm just telling you what I get from my guy, who watches the show and keeps up with it. They have parameters for live shows. So thanks, Marva. Marva's sending me Bill Belichick girlfriend pictures. Marva's going to join us coming up at 7. So yeah, if just everybody who's subscribed gets one person to subscribe that may like sports or entertainment, pop culture, and just want to have fun and hang out with us, please get them to subscribe. And then we'll be up to 1,000. Can you work on that for me? I'm still a startup. I don't have enough financial support yet to go out and advertise. What I would like to do is put the show on a billboard. That would be cool. That would be cool. But I can't really do that right now. Wayne says fans should show up for UVA this week. Yeah, we're going to find out if they care in any way, shape, or form about UVA's current terrific season that's underway. If they can't make Friday night something special in Charlottesville with Florida State coming in on national TV, then you're never going to be able to get the fans back UVA football under Tony Elliott. This is their opportunity to make a massive statement. Correct. That's a great observation. David says Clemson will be lucky to fill Tech's traditional slot in the Military Bowl. Yeah. Boy, did Dabo look beaten or did Dabo look beaten down? I took the time to find that post-game presser online. Woo! UVA would be a Vanderbilt in the SEC, lifetime doormats, academically not aligned, Big Ten match. Yeah, exactly. And that's what the Big Ten's looking at. Those presidents there still look at the academic side of it because they know they get a lot of their money from the academia. There's a lot of and it's true every conference, but especially in the Big Ten, there's a lot of highfalutin lawyers and doctors and engineers and things like that. So that's 100% correct, Morris. And that's why they've always been more tied to the Big Ten. My contact I have at a Big Ten school who's in all these meetings always says UVA is talked about. Dabo Swinney may be available soon. Yeah, you don't want that. I'm thinking Dabo, he might be available soon. He won't be fired. He'll be allowed to fade off into the sunset, and then I think he'll be done with coaching. I think he'll be done. Yeah. UVA will be an afterthought in either the Big Ten or the SEC, but I guess the money is worth it. Yeah. None of these decisions, and it has been that way for a while, none of these decisions are being done with the competitive aspect of it being considered. Just look at the ACC. It made no competitive sense for Stanford and Cal to put all of the pressure on their programs to travel so far, so many times per year. And I'm not just talking about football and basketball. I'm talking about all the Olympic sports. They're not worried about the competitive nature of it. They jumped in because they knew it was their only chance to kind of grasp any kind of financial gain whatsoever. So none of these decisions are made from a competitive standpoint. You're exactly right. Prometheus says Friday night is chess night at UVA. Can't make the game. Sorry. Who we play? Oh, Florida State, yeah. Wayne says, so you're saying the Big Ten is full of nerds. Correct. That's exactly right. Kenny says on the professional door text line, do you think UVA will win on Friday? Go Who's. Hey, Kenny, you're a UVA guy. That's fine. I think UVA is going to make Florida State work very hard to win that game. The Morris kid can play quarterback. And look, they have the brand, but is anybody looking at Florida State? You know, okay. You've got one nice win. One nice win. And to me, I put a lot into the competition level. And I know they're bragging about scoring 77 and 66 points over something called Eastern Texas A&M and Kent State. Let me ask you a question. Who wins between Eastern Texas A&M and Wofford? Would there be a gained yard from the line of scrimmage? Here's the snap, pitch back to the tailback. Oh, he's tackled 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Oh, there's another interception. There's a couple flags down. So I don't think we've seen enough of Florida State to say, oh, boy, UVA has no chance. Sure they do. They're at home. UVA can get on a roll early. I mean, Florida State opened up. They beat Alabama, who may have been overrated, maybe not. We were going on preseason rankings. Great win for them. They needed it. I don't really count anything other than 8-quarter workouts in their last 2 games. Like, I don't know what the hell Eastern Texas A&M even is. I have no idea. Dabo looked confused and defeated. I was waiting for him to go all Gundy. Now, he didn't go all Gundy. You know, he went all, dude finally gets a chance to go to the prom with the captain of the cheerleaders. And he shows up at her house, right? And he's got the corset and he's ready to go. He's all excited. He's greased his hair back. You know, he's got his clip-on tie going. And he knocks on the door. And then the dad comes to the door. Hey, I'm Dabo. I'm here to pick up Jessica. And then the dad, who sees Dabo, is a little sympathetic and says, Dabo, can you come inside, please? Jessica's not here. Dirk, who probably drives a Stingray, Corvette Stingray, some kind of muscle car, came over and they made up, and she went to the prom with Dirk. And then Dabo leaves all dejected. He can't even really be mad. He just understands his place. And it's kind of the way Dabo looks in the post-game press conference. He wasn't mad. He just, wow, Jessica's with Dirk. I worked hard to get that clip on right in the center of my button-up, but I guess I'll just go back home. And then, like, for a week, he's trying to run water out of the faucet and into his hand and keep the corsage alive. Right? What is UVA's best win? Well, let's look at it. We always can get the answer fairly easily. Their best win. Probably the Stanford game, just because at least they're a Power 4 team, at least in theory. They crushed Coastal. Should have beat NC State. That would have been by far their best win, if not for the late interception when they were going in for the winning touchdown. William and Mary, no. Probably Stanford. But they've scored no less than 31 points in their 4 games. So that's why I think Florida State's going to have to bring it. Let's put it this way. I don't think UVA, the players out there on the field, they spend a lot of money on their roster. They're not going to be intimidated by the spear on the side of that gold helmet. No, they're not. David says she just left with – is that Wogie from Something About Mary? Paul says this sounds like a personal story. No. I actually went to the prom with the cheerleader captain. She was a year older than me. God rest her soul, Farron Chenant. Beautiful girl. She passed away several years ago. Very sad, very sad. But yeah. Good times. Now, not to say, Paul, that didn't happen with other instances, not necessarily that I showed up at somebody's house, but you think you're going out with somebody. Oh, they're out with Steve. Okay. I use Dirk because that just feels like when you watch these movies, Dirk just seems like the guy who gets under your skin. Right. He's always getting in your business. Hey, Jimmy, good morning. Virginia now 7.5-point dogs at home. They just went up. 2 teams, Tebow says, in the ACC seem legit to me in the ACC, Miami and Georgia Tech. FSU is yet to be determined. UVA is definitely better. Other than that, the ACC is trash. Don't sugarcoat it, Tebow. How do you really feel? Let's see here. I do have a picture. I'll have to show that. I do have a picture of me and Ms. Chenant. I was looking cool, though. I didn't have the frills. I had the suit on, man. And I didn't have a clip on. I had a tie on. I had a tie. Yeah. You couldn't go out cheerleader. You couldn't take her to the prom with a clip on. It wasn't going to work. No. One day I got to tell you the story, though, how that went. Should I tell you the story? I'll hold off on that. Maybe I'll do that one after hours. Yeah, Dirk or Chip. Yeah. She's out with Chip. ACC is trash. I like it. Let's see. Wake Forest, no good. We think both Virginia and Florida State are pretty good. Georgia Tech's very good. Duke, middling. Syracuse has got off to a good start, but they've lost their quarterback. Louisville's good now. Louisville's good. But JMU was playing them off their feet. They kept shooting themselves in the foot. Pittsburgh is not very good. They blew that lead at West Virginia. Cal is not good. BC is not good. They're okay. They're better. Tech, Wolfpack, and then Stanford is really bad. So I don't know. No, I didn't wear a pink tuxedo with ruffles. There were no ruffles. Did I ever wear a tuxedo? I don't think I've ever worn a tuxedo. I'm sure I have. Been in a lot of weddings. Did I have to wear a tuxedo? I'll take Miami and FSU in the ACC championship. I think Georgia Tech, if they keep Haynes King healthy, is going to be in the ACC championship. How's that, Steve? Yankee Steve? If FSU best win is Alabama and Virginia's best win is Stanford, I'm going to go on a limb and say FSU is going to win. Yeah, but you can't look at it that way. I get what you're saying. For one thing, it's the first road game for Florida State, and matchups are so different and has teams evolve from week one to where we are now coming up. It's Virginia's fifth game. This is where coaching, this is why coaches make these outrageous salaries. This is about getting your teams adjusted and ready to play. But Florida State hasn't been tested all the last 2 weeks. They've kind of been on the easy street for 8 quarters. And I think you have to put that in a realistic scenario. There's a lot of false sense of security there. And that's why this is a really important game early to find out, right? Florida State going on the road. I think the toughest thing to do in collegiate sports is win conference road games, whether it's football, whether it's soccer, whether it's tennis, whatever it might be. Winning on the road is never easy. Tebow says he used to date a Chenault from Pulaski. Me too. Who knew, Tebow? No, did I ever have a mullet? Oh, I got to find it. I should have. I'll bring the picture. I'll put the picture on here. I'll have it. Mullet. I guess I did. It wasn't like your traditional mullet. The first Lethal Weapon movie, or that character, Mel Gibson's character. What was his name? Oh, my Lord. I used to love Lethal Weapon, and I've forgotten his name. Man, I loved him and Danny Glover together. Anyway, you know how Mel Gibson's hair looked in Lethal Weapon, the Lethal Weapon movies. That's kind of what I tried for. So I guess it's technically a mullet, but I didn't have like the short bowl cut. Riggs, thank you. Thank you, Paul. Jeez, how did I not remember Riggs? Come on. Martin Riggs, let's get crazy. Yeah, you're right. That's kind of what I had for a while. My sophomore year, high school, into my junior year. It's kind of what I had going. But I don't know if I had a traditional mullet. Was that considered a mullet? What Mel Gibson had as Riggs? It is? Okay. It is considered a mullet? Okay. Well, then I guess I did have a mullet. But it looked cool, didn't it? It didn't look like you see a mullet today, the stereotypical type of mullet, right? It looked cool because it was Mel Gibson, I guess. Didn't look as cool on Rick Watson as it did Mel Gibson. But I do remember it being so long, I had to when I was playing football, and that was when, I made travel team for Coach Hicks, and I had to put it in a little clip back there for a while and stick it underneath. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure I cut it the next year, my junior year, because in the picture I have, I didn't have the mullet, but I'll bring that picture out. Let you see it. Pay tribute to Farron. Yeah, flipped out. It flipped out of the baseball cap. Yeah, it was. Tebow says, speaking of Pulaski, it used to be the place to be on Friday nights. I wish they'd get back to that, but it's not the same anymore. It will be with Pulaski County Sports Entertainment. You're not going to recognize Pulaski County when they really get this thing cranked up and going. I'm telling you, man. You want to go be inspired about the future and about things in the world? Go talk to Jonathan Sweet, those people up there at Pulaski. Travis Williams, your professional door text line is blowing up. Mark Hundley, your McClellan Chiropractic chat line is blowing up. Sponsors, come on, where are you? Trainer mullet. Yeah, that's kind of what I had going. I did. And then when I got into fighting, it's all gone. That's why, I don't have as much hair, but I started cutting my hair immediately. Because when you start boxing, first thing my trainer says it's got to go, because you can't have long hair. You're not going to ever see a boxer with long hair, because when you get hit, the longer the hair, the more perspiration that develops. And to judges, to people who are scoring the fight, it looks like the shot may be more direct than it really is. So you keep it trimmed. We talked about this with Kevin Bowen when we had him back on the radio show at Blacksburg Boxing. So you're going to see fighters keep it tight, or they're going to be bald. So that's when I cut it for good, but that was after high school. And I've kept it short since. I don't have much choice now because I'm older and it's not there anymore. Mad Dog 2020. No, I never drank Boone's Farm. Mickey Big Mouse. You remember Mickey Biggs? You remember? Didn't they have like the green barrels? Remember those? That was my liquor of choice. Like little grenades. Do they still make those, by the way? Do they still have those? I mean, I've evolved now. I'm 100%, and I don't drink much at all. But when I do, I drink beer. I don't drink liquor, because I like the way beer tastes with certain food. I like beer with my steak. If I have one of my beers, Lion's Head in particular, which I have to order from Pennsylvania, that enhances certain food to me. But yeah, Mickey Big Mouth, that was it. Yeah. Correct, Jimmy. Yeah, that's why Rocky is so near and dear to me. Yeah, absolutely. Muhammad Ali, one of my all-time favorite sports heroes growing up. Marvin Hagler. Modern times, Manny Pacquiao. Incredible. Sugar Ray Leonard, inspiration. And then, of course, Mike Tyson. One of the saddest nights of my life. When you talk about your sports teams losing, he was all messed up. Remember when Mike was with Robin Givens and he was all messed up, hipped up on whatever she had him on, Don King, and he got beat up in Japan by Buster Douglas. That was one of the saddest nights. He was never the same after that, and it never should have happened. Never should have been fighting that night. It was a sad, sad night. For me, anyway. A lot of people celebrated it, but I saw the fall of somebody who was being controlled and manipulated. Ugh. Hated that night. And it had nothing to do with Buster Douglas, but he never should have lost that fight. Never should have lost that fight. I don't think he was ever even. I don't think he ever. He says he doesn't even ever remember stepping into the ring. Terrible, terrible. Mixtape of the top 40 countdown. Yeah, Casey Kasem. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is Casey Kasem. On with the countdown. Number 34. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Record and play. Record and play. Casey, stop talking so I can get the beginning of the instrumental. Go. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the way we recorded our music, man. I had the Kenwood stack system, right? 100%. Go out and get your you could get the cheap, remember the cheap cassettes? They were Sertrons. I always got the Maxell UD90s. That was my choice, boy. And when I couldn't find Maxell, I would get TDK. But yeah, you get the 90-minute cassettes, to your point, yes. And you record the songs off of the top 40 countdown because you knew you were going to hear the songs you like. You can't always get that on the radio at the time. That was before CDs, man. You could make your own cassettes and play them in your car. David says, I'll bring a Mickey Big Mouth when you host the Football Palooza. I bring 6 on ice. All right, deal. Jam box. Oh, yeah, we all had jam boxes, right, of some kind. We all had something. Yeah, 100%. A lot of people still do. Those things kind of made a comeback. Rodney says, enhance meal with Selma. Well, she would enhance any aspect of the day. Prince, 1999, blasting. My favorite song off that album is called Let's Pretend We're Married. Whatever you heard about me is true. I change the rules and do what I want to do. I'm in love with God. He's the only way. Because you and I know we got to die someday. You think I'm crazy? You're probably right. But I'm going to have fun every blankety blank night. You like to fight? You're a double drag fool. I'm going to another life. How about you? Great song. Great song. Too many people today hear the crap that passes as music and they just, oh, he's a visionary. He's a genius. Prince Rogers Nelson, absolute, maybe the genius of music of my lifetime, of a lot of people's lifetime. That guy, he was on a different plane of existence. Marva in Miami joins us coming up here soon. She's been sending me stuff. Marva apparently is down to the whole, she's down with Jordan. She's down. She's down. She's ready to go. Yeah. She joins us right now. Let me get Marva on here. Hang on, Marva. I'm going to get you out of the green room. Wait a minute. I want you to stop sipping your tea and your cookies because, you know, we take care of people in the green room. There she is. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing okay. Doing all right.
All right. So this week, randomly on our professional door text line, I had people say, man, I guess they didn't listen to the radio show. They really like Marva. I said, well, yeah, it's been fun.
That's so nice.
They were asking about our history.
Oh.
So, and I said, well, you know what? We're going to talk about it when she comes on.
Let's talk about it.
And you and I met when we were working for Ron Walton.
Yes. The late, great Ron Walton.
The late, great Ron Walton, who created this whole big dog thing. And you were the roving news reporter for the station. You were our news gal, the best in the business. And I was the sports guy.
You were, yes.
And so we had 4 stations at that time. So help me. We started the Bear. The Bear was started at that time. The Bear did not exist. Correct?
Right. Bear was a new rock station, yeah. With
Pat Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Genius, by the way. Speaking of genius, radio person.
Yes. Nice guy.
We still had PSK. PSK had been around.
Yes, the country station.
We had the Buzz, right? Fraser Hughes was the alternative.
The Buzz before me because I really don't remember the Buzz.
You don't remember the Buzz? I thought
No.
you roved around the Buzz too.
I don't remember the Buzz. I remember what was like the pop station.
Yes, that was the other one. I can't remember what it was.
I can't remember that, but it's Jam and Gene was our coworker.
Yes, Jam and Gene.
Yes. The happiest guy I've ever met.
Yeah, you'd go into Gene's studio because the music was so pleasant every day. He's just smiling. You're in there like, "Good morning, Gene. How are you? It's Tuesday."
But yeah, he was, and I still keep up with him online. Just a happy guy, happy-go-lucky.
Oh yeah,
nice guy. Yes.
So we would jump around and do our reports,
and
you and I. That's how we.
I'd come in and do news while you're doing sports.
Correct, and then we'd alternate studios.
Yes.
Yeah.
Running around.
Yeah, there you go. So there's our brief history.
Yes.
And then Marva moved, and we got all sad.
Yes.
She went to another market.
Yes.
Inevitably, she was going to go to another market because she was that good.
Oh, well, thank you very much. But I left there, actually went to Raleigh because my family is from North Carolina. So
Correct.
I'm from North Carolina. So I was in North Carolina again. And then from there, I went to Florida. So I am in Florida now.
Well, this takes us into a great segue, doesn't it?
Because
speaking of North Carolina.
Yes.
We didn't think the trip down to Central Florida was going to go well, and it didn't. It didn't.
Well,
but Jordan was looking good in her knee boots,
Oh, yeah. So I don't know. Well, let's back up. So we talked about this last week. I said that even though Carolina had won against Charlotte and against Richmond, I had some concerns going down to UCF because the offense did not look great. That's what I said, right? I said that it looked like the defense was improving, but the offense did not look great. And we saw that against UCF, where Carolina was only able to score 1 touchdown through the whole game and then 2 field goals. Okay. And so it just was not good, Rick. Wasn't expecting it to be that bad, but it wasn't good. I mean, the final score was 34-9, and it was over pretty quickly. And fans are grumbling now. I don't participate too much in that. I mean, I look at it, of course, I got to see what people are talking about. But fans are saying, Belichick, some fans are ready for Belichick to go. Belichick is a problem.
Wow, really? Already?
But you know how fans are, Rick. Some fans are saying it's time for him to go. Some fans are saying, and this is something I said, again, Gio Lopez, I don't think is the answer for Carolina at quarterback. He's just not been very effective. And I mean, he wasn't that effective even against the so-called lesser talent, and he definitely was not very effective against the big schools Carolina's played, TCU and UCF. He went out with an injury in Saturday's game, and Max Johnson came in. He wasn't able to put a score on the board, but he was moving the ball down the field so much better than Gio Lopez. And so Carolina has a bye week now. It's going to be interesting to see what happens against Clemson on that first Saturday in November. Is Belichick going to stick with Gio Lopez, who seems to be his guy for some reason, or is he going to give Max Johnson a try? I mean, Carolina also has a freshman people are excited about, but I just don't see him going there. I think if he did make a change, it would be putting Max Johnson in.
I think the thing that stood out, the two, good teams you played physically beat them up.
Yes.
I mean, up front, it was real. I mean, I wanted to watch enough of it to get a vibe for it. And boy, they did anything they wanted at the line of scrimmage. And the same thing happened with TCU down in Chapel Hill.
And also, if you notice, Carolina looks slow. On the other side of the ball, I thought defense was getting better, but they just look slow. And, it was bad, Rick. I don't know what else to say. It was bad. Like the UCF quarterback, which I had not seen him play, because the sort of knock on them is they hadn't played anybody yet, because they had played Jacksonville State and they had played.
That's still true, isn't it?
Yes.
Sorry,
I'm not going to say that, Rick.
I'm sorry.
But I mean, this guy, Taven Jackson, I don't know anything about him. Never watched him. He was getting anything he wanted, anything. And it just looked bad. And I just got to go. Let me look at I have some stats for Gio Lopez. He went 11 for 14 passing. Okay. Ooh. And he threw 2 picks.
Oh.
He had a QBR of 15.5.
Oh.
That's not going to do it. That's
well, if
not
you're going to make a
good.
change, what you said, though, makes sense, right? You got a bye week. If you're going to make a change, this is the week to do it.
Yes, definitely.
Get him in there. Get the Johnson kid in there.
People keep talking about, well, they don't want to mess up Gio's confidence. And I'm like, well, why should Gio be confident?
What confidence did he have?
I don't know. And I feel bad, but a lot of people are saying this is Belichick's guy. He wanted this guy for some reason. I don't know why. And so he admitting that he is not working out would be admitting that you made a mistake. But we all make mistakes, and there's nothing wrong. The best thing if you make a mistake is admit it and then try to change, change direction. So
why should he be confident? I like that. You're right.
Yeah,
it's like Dabo going to pick up Jessica and she's already gone out with Dirk. Why would you be confident after that? It's the same thing.
Yeah. I don't know what's happening here. And it's frustrating, but the good thing is there's a bright spot here is that Carolina hasn't played any conference games. Okay. So Carolina could still win the ACC.
Yeah, I mean, your statement is hypothetically, factually correct. Yes.
Yes, Carolina has not lost a conference game.
No,
okay,
they haven't.
Undefeated in the ACC right now. So let's see what happens. And I kind of hate to see what's going on with Clemson, even though I kind of like it because Dabo's not my favorite guy, but that makes Clemson coming into Carolina. They're going to be very hungry. They're going to be tired of people talking about them. And so, they want to prove something. So that's the part I don't really like, that I hate they're coming in like that. But if Carolina were to beat Clemson, they remain undefeated in the ACC, that would be big, right? That would be huge. And so I think Carolina has a shot. Clemson hasn't looked that great, right?
You know what's true? You know what? Everything you're saying, if they can somehow put things together, is not out of the realm of possibility that they could have a good conference schedule. Clemson's not good.
No.
So there's the first one. They go to California. I mean, all you got to do is handle the travel. You're not going to have any atmosphere there. It's going to be a late night. That's not out of the realm that they could win that game.
Right.
We don't know about Virginia yet. We think they're pretty good. You go to Syracuse, and that'll be tough. It's tough to win in the Dome. Even though they don't have a quarterback, the new guy will come out and have a few games under his belt. Mm-hmm. Stanford, that's a win.
See?
Wake Forest should be a win.
See?
Duke, and then NC State. So,
Yeah,
I don't know about winning the conference, but you could get 3 or 4 wins there. Absolutely.
3 or 4.
That could happen.
I mean,
yeah,
Carolina could win the conference. And then then we're talking about, is this 2-loss team they're going to be able to get to the playoffs? So, and that's what people are talking about with Notre Dame. So, just saying.
Yeah, well, Notre Dame.
So I'm just saying, Rick, it could happen.
I know.
Okay, and I just think you have to realize the Gio Lopez experiment.
It's not working.
It's not working out, and it's okay to say that. It's okay. Who knows? Put Max Johnson in, see what he does. If he is not successful, I mean, who knows? Maybe they go back to Gio. I don't know, but I just feel like the Gio Lopez experiment has got to come to an end. It's just not working out. I'm sorry, just one more thing. I was also disappointed that Carolina's running game. I thought they had found a few somebodies to maybe replace Amari and Hampton, maybe to together. They're not going to be Amari and Hampton, but that was also ineffective against UCF. They couldn't run the ball, couldn't throw. It was just, 9 points. That's all it says it right there, right? That's all Carolina could score on Saturday was 9 points, and it was very sad.
How do you think Belichick is relating to the players at this level? Like, that's a serious question for me. Like, I know there are a lot of them getting paid, and it's kind of but I wonder how, Lombardi, the GM, he's an NFL guy too. I wonder, you think there's a disconnect there, or do you think those guys understand, hey, we're coming to play for Bill Belichick, there's a lot of immense respect, or is it once they get there, they're kind of like, I can't really talk to that guy,
I don't know. It's kind of hard to say.
It's weird. Yeah.
I don't know. I do think they respect what he's done, what he did in the NFL. how can you not respect that? But whether he can relate to them, I don't know. I mean, maybe his girlfriend helps. She's closer to their age. So maybe
she might relate to him more than he wants her
to. Rick, we're not going there.
Hey-o.
But I sent you something which I wish we could share with the audience. This just ridiculous social media post that she made.
I know. Well, I could, but I don't have time to send it. Yeah, the one with UCF.
Yeah, where they were on the beach and he's like playing what is it, like the airplane game with her or something on the beach. It's ridiculous. I mean, I don't care what people do in their personal lives for the most part. I don't.
Pretty good. It's
but
pretty funny.
I wish he would tell her, hey, can you like cut back on this? Because it's not a good. So that's what UCF did in response. Can you show them the original one? Okay, so that's what UCF did in response after the game. Okay.
I see that. Yeah.
Because that's what Belichick and Jordan did. They did that on the beach and she posted it. And I just think you don't have to do extra stuff like that. Like you don't have to.
Trolling.
It's good trolling. I mean, I give it to him. That's good trolling because that's exactly what they were.
What was the other one? What is this one?
Did you get it?
Show this one?
I think
there it is. Oh, is that real? That's what they did on the beach?
Yes. Can you hold up a little higher? Yeah. So that's Belichick holding her up, and she's doing some pose like she's a gymnast or model. Really? I don't know. That
okay. So there's the first one.
That, and she put "still got it" up there or something. I don't know. And so then UCF did the same thing with their night mascot and the W.
So you saw that. And then you see
A1 trolling right there, and it's embarrassing. And so. I mean, I don't know if he can just say to her, please.
Social team of the year right there.
You don't have to do this, but she's just a very out there person. She's not a quiet, she's not very.
No, she's not quiet.
I don't know. It's embarrassing. It really is. Like, again, I don't care about their relationship. Some of my friends are still so upset about that. Like, oh, that's so, I don't care if it was more private. I just don't need to see that. Right. Especially when you're not winning. I don't need to see that. Imagine if that was like the starting quarterback for Carolina doing that with his girlfriend, which I don't know who his girlfriend is, or even if he has one. But he would be criticized, right? He'd be criticized.
Maybe
your mind's not on football.
Maybe, but in this day and age where they're getting paid, if it's young people, you expect them to be on the beach and doing that.
Yeah, but still, when you're losing, it's not a good look. And then when you're coming down on the field with the go-go boots on, or what?
The go-go boots. That was a good look for her. The go-go boots.
Well, Mia, she's an attractive young lady, but still, it's not a good look for the program, right?
Yeah.
It's not a good look.
Well, we'll see. You need a bye week.
Yes.
Let me ask you. You observed the league. We were talking about it. Who do you think's the best team in the ACC right now? Is it Miami? Is it that much of a slam dunk? They're number 2 in the country this week. Wow.
I know. They're looking good. And there's so much excitement down here for Miami. And it's just interesting to me to watch. So I live down here, but obviously I'm not a Hurricanes fan, but it's like you can feel it. People are excited. They think they're going to do something. But I have experienced this before, Rick. Maybe not them getting up to number 2 in the country, but I've experienced this wave with them before.
I know.
And it comes crashing down. So, I mean, I hope it's for real for their sake because it's good for the conference. So remember, I'm always about what's good for the conference. For the most part, as long as it doesn't involve certain teams. But they're excited, and I'm happy for them. But I want to see a little bit more before I'm ready to crown them. Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I would.
Still early, Let's see what they do.
But it shows you the eagerness. We talk about brands and that you and what it means. It shows you the eagerness. As soon as they have some semblance of success, how quickly they rise to the top. And it's happened so many times. Dwight Vicks talked about it so many times on the show. Miami, oh boy, they win 2 games. Here they are again, all the way to number 2 in the country. There's no way Miami is the second best team in the country, but here we are.
Well, I mean, who did they push down? I don't remember. Was it Penn State?
Yeah, it may have been. They may have been, yeah.
Okay.
Penn State they were off, right? They didn't play.
Yeah, and so, when you're off, nobody's seeing you, nobody's talking about you.
Yeah.
So it's still early. I just don't, try not to get too excited. I try to tell people this early on, these polls, don't get too excited. But I get why they do. It's, the U is back and da-da-da-da-da.
No,
it's all about the U. That's all I'm
Got to sell stuff. Yeah.
And it's like an image, just Miami. They had College Game Day was here this past week, and it was the pool
were they? I didn't know that.
Yes, And just interesting story about that pool. That's actually where my daughter learned how to swim. Her very first swim classes were at UM at their
So
pool.
the pool that was on the show, really?
Mm-hmm. They have lessons there for kids, and so that's the same pool. It's right there in Miller campus, and it was really cool. When she's like what 2, 3, it's like she was a toddler. So I like seeing that in the back. I showed it to her because, of course, she doesn't remember now. And that's where you first got in the pool, first learned.
I didn't realize you were that close to campus.
Well, when we first were down here, we used to live closer to that area. So that's where she took her there for lessons. So yeah.
How was your husband after the Bears game? He's not in the room.
Good. And he's not in the room. And I even tried to help him. I even wore a Cowboys t-shirt. Yeah, I'm trying.
Say, what a wife! What a wife! What a supporter! I wore
a Cowboys t-shirt, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter.
By the way, people are asking, is that another Carolina shirt?
No, it's the colors, but it's not a Carolina
shirt. Look at you. That's why you're. See,
I can't. After a lot, I can't. Yeah, but I will wear the colors. Always rep the colors, but.
I know. Yeah, you don't want to after a loss. I know.
No. I was going to come out here wearing black, but I said, no, I'm not going to take it.
You're in mourning. Nah, you guys tried the black and the sky blue. It didn't work. No, you remember that? That got dumped pretty quickly. Even you hated that.
Yeah.
Right? You didn't like that.
I like classic uniforms. So.
Correct. Yeah. Now, I'm the same way. Like the Broncos have lost back-to-back games on walk-off field goals. So I put away all my hats. I just kind of turn them the other way. I don't want to see the logo right now. I'm angry.
I haven't even heard anybody talking about them this year. I'm sorry. We haven't got a chance to chat about them.
Bo Nix ends up, he's not it. I hate it. It's not it.
It's still early though.
Well, he's in year 2 though. It's not early for him. He looks terrible. But
terrible.
Anyway. All right. Well, enjoy your bye week.
Thank you.
You got no game. So good for you.
We can't lose, right?
No. What do you think? Virginia? You think Virginia's got anything for Florida State Friday night?
What? This is a serious question? No.
Yeah, it's a serious question.
Embarrassed.
You don't think they can keep it interesting for a couple quarters at least? Make it
maybe for like the first 5 minutes of the game or so. I think they're going to get crushed.
Okay. All right.
You don't? You think they have a shot?
I don't think they're going to get crushed. I don't think it's going to be 49-12 or anything like that. No. Okay. All right.
It'll be 49-27.
All right. Well, you know what? 49-27, you go, all right, well, we scored 20. Our offense is pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see. But I just don't. I think Florida State is pretty good. And
okay.
So.
All right. Well, listen, you have a great week. By the way, the temperature check. Let's see.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I always forget to check that because I am wearing shorts today. Let's see.
We're at 59, huh? Ooh, beat that. 59. Beat that, young lady.
Okay, let's see. We are at, why is my phone going so slow right now? We are at 78.
Oh.
And we're going up to 87, though. You probably wouldn't like that.
No, that's too warm. We're at 77.
Okay.
We're at 70.
Well, that's not bad. So you're where you will be where I am right now.
That's true. See? And ours will be more comfortable. Haha.
I'm sort of used to it now. That doesn't bother me.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me.
Bring on the heat.
Bring on the heat. All right. Well, have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, you too.
And enjoy your off week.
Thank you. I will.
No L's.
No L's.
No L's this week.
No L's.
Unless we get more
only
social
W,
media.
Right?
Yeah, only dubs. Only dubs this week. Unless Jordan does something silly in social media. So.
She probably will, but.
She probably will.
Yes.
All right. Have a great week. My best to you and the two most gorgeous children that any human beings ever had, by the way. Your 2 kids.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, they're growing up, though. Marva, stop.
I know.
Stop them.
Why are they so tall now? I don't understand what's happening.
They are tall. Your daughter, my goodness, what happened?
I don't know. She's only
well, you're a giant. What are you? You're like 5'11".
I'm practically 6 feet tall. So, yeah.
So I'm not surprised.
Yeah. We'll talk about my basketball career one day.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we will. Yeah.
I was on my middle school team, sort of.
We had to set her up on milk crates to reach the microphone back in the day.
Look, I was manager of my middle school team. It was a very important role.
It is a very important role.
I almost became a coach.
Correct. All right. You have a great week.
Okay, you too.
Marvin Miami here on the program. She's not 6 feet tall, by the way. She's not. She's got a bye week this week. That was great trolling, that stuff she was sending me from South Florida, or from Central Florida. All right, thanks to Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios here in Reiner, 540-200-8294, familyfencingnrb.com. Brian Seagla from the Boundary Corner podcast joins us next. And I got some big announcements coming up. Vinyl, wood, aluminum, chain link, doesn't matter. Commercial, agricultural, finance options, free quotes. They're the best. Go see Jason Green and Company. Go see Mark Hundley, McClellan Chiropractor. Right off Peppers Ferry Road, take a left if you're going toward the mall. Take a right if you're going the other way. And great building, new building. He's moved into a bigger space because he's got the most updated equipment that you can imagine. And, of course, he sponsors our chat room, and we've had so many people jump in that. We appreciate it. Travis Williams, Professional Door Incorporated, right up there in Dublin. Always one of my favorite roads to be on, Route 100, right across from New River Community College. They've been in business for 38 years. 38 years. Family-owned, second generation. Travis is great. Thank you so much. Garage doors, garage doors, garage doors. They do it better than anybody. National Bank. Remember FDIC, exclusive banking partner of BDST. Thank you so much for your support. Thanks to the attorney, Ryan Pry. We're getting a lot of folks chiming in again. Boy, this thing's taking off, Ryan. You had a great idea. The BDST fan question of the week. 701 West Main Street. How many ACC wins does Virginia Tech end up with? We'll ask Brian Seagla that question coming up as well. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. Go see Charles Lee and Company. Do it today. And we're brought to you each and every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Think out of the box. They are. You're not going to recognize Pulaski County when those folks are done with it in a good way. Back to the McClellan Chiropractic chat room. Still waiting for Bill and his young lady in a Cialis commercial holding hands in 2 tubs. That would be epic. Oof. Well, maybe. Maybe it would be epic. Maybe not. That was good trolling, though. I enjoyed that. All right, we got some big stuff coming up. Let me get sidetracked here. All right, so tomorrow is Wednesday, and one of our guests tomorrow will be Matt Roan, the Director of Athletics at James Madison. We'll talk about the big win over Liberty. Always have a great conversation with him. Thursday, Marty Smith and Steve Ragsdale take 2. We'll have Marty and Rags on from 7 to 8. Later today, I'm working with Coach Ragsdale about his connection. We're going to figure out his camera. Remember, he didn't have it the first time. The audio was great. Everything checked out great for Coach Ragsdale at the doctor. Thursday, Marty Smith from Marty McGee, my pal, Steve Ragsdale. Take 2. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. Friday, with our usual guests of Will Stewart, Mike Ashley, and Jen, Wes Durham joins us from Syracuse. And let's just go ahead and say it. He is the voice of the ACC network. So we got a lot going on this week. Matt Roan tomorrow. Mike Burnip tomorrow, because Mike is traveling with Bill today. They're doing an all-day function. It started yesterday. It's all through the day. So they couldn't be with us, and they let me know. And, hey, you got stuff. No big deal. Mike, I believe, tomorrow as well. So we got a lot going on tomorrow. A lot of adjustments this week with the schedule. David Teal tomorrow. But very excited for the second dose of Marty and Rags on Thursday. And then West Durham on Friday. So big announcements. Big announcements. It's going to be a fun week. It's going to be a hell of a week. That's fun. This is why, like I said earlier, we have over 500 subscribers. Thank you. Blows my mind. We need to go higher, though. If each of you get one person to subscribe, we'll be at 1,000. That was Chad Hyatt's math. not mine. He made a great point. I need to post that too. But it makes a lot of sense. Just get one person that you know that may like sports. Have you subscribed to BDST? No. What is it? You have YouTube? Yeah. Here, go there and click on it. It's fun. You'll like it. That's all it takes. How much? Nothing. It's free. What do you think? He's charging you? It's free. So let's go. Let's get to 1,000. And as always, I need your help. If you want this thing to go, I mean, then you get the 3-year window. Because when you sign up to do this program and you agree to all the parameters of it, there's a lot of things you have to go through, a lot of things you have to read, a lot of fine print. That's one of the big perks. 1,000 subscribers means you're off and running for 3 years. So that's what we're shooting for now. So anybody who can help spread the word, remind them that it's free and all those wonderful things. So thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, Rags and Marty on Thursday. Hokey Bob says about that other post. Oh, yes, they're in 2 tubs with Bill handing Jordan a Capital One credit card. Ragsdale Marty, hot dang. Yes, sir. Thursday. Talked to both of those individuals yesterday. Marty's in Tuscaloosa tomorrow, so he wanted to do it tomorrow, but he has to do it on Thursday. So let's get to 1,000. Let's get to 1,000 on our subs. It's going to be 100 at a time, and I know that. I'm not saying we need to jump there today, but it's like Johnny Cash saying, right? One piece at a time. It didn't cost me a dime. Well, this does cost a little bit to do this, but we can get there. Brian Seagla joins us coming up here at 7:30 from the Boundary Corner. He was on vacation last week, and we'll get caught up on everything. And just for you, since I know there's so much curiosity, we'll get into the whole head coaches thing. Even though I think we're not even close to even seriously considering any of it, we'll get into it just for you. Because I know that's what fans want, and I understand. And we'll talk to him about the money, and we'll talk to him about all these things. No, that's not my dog. Yeah, that's the neighbor's dog. I mentioned that yesterday. I did not, Rodney. Still nothing on the T-shirts, and I'm getting a little dejected now. It's been 3 weeks since I was told I was going to have mock-ups. Rodney, I need you to do the Lord's work for me there. But I still have not. Rick's prom picks are worth at least 10 new subs. Yeah, I'll upload that. I will. I'll upload that so we can have it on the screen. Maybe I'll have that by tomorrow. Oh, okay, Rodney. We'll see. Thank you. I've had so many T-shirt requests, and I've been trying, so we'll see. Hopefully we'll have news soon. Hopefully. I think you're going to like them. Louise Baker's been designing her own. She's been excited about T-shirts. But we will have them when, I don't know. Hopefully sooner than later. But I thought hopefully by now I could be able to have an announcement, but I'm still waiting to see the mock-ups. So we'll see. You'll see. Actually, Wayne, you know what? They probably will be in black. We'll probably have gray and black. Now, I don't want anybody saying, wait a minute, what do you do? I mean, it's up to you. You tell me. Well, if you're gonna, for a very low cost, purchase a BDST T-shirt, would you want gray or would you want black or something else? You tell me. I don't equate T-shirt color to jersey, wearing a black jersey for no reason. Gray or black. See, there you go. It just seems to be the natural flow of things. We used to get concert T-shirts back in the day. They were always black, right? And I didn't really think anything about it. They were just black shirts. Yeah, gray or black. It's got to be like a a heather gray or the traditional T-shirt gray. Not necessarily a charcoal, because if you're doing charcoal, you're kind of offsetting the black. So, yeah, it'll be like the gray, the lighter gray, and then it'll be some black. But Jason says gray as well. Okay. All right. But, yeah, that's what we got coming up. Matt Roan tomorrow, Marty and Rags on Thursday, and then West Durham on Friday. So we got a lot going on here on the program. As we roll along here in hour number 2, I missed him last week. I'm glad he had his time, but there's Brian Seagla from the Boundary Corner. Good morning, B. How are you?
What's going on, Rick? How you doing this morning?
Doing good, man. Doing good. I hope you are. How was vacation?
You know what? A whole lot happened.
Oh, you mean on the vacation?
No, while I was away. You leave, you get blown out by ODU, you get a coach fired, and you get $50 million to the athletic budget. So, like, in the scope of a little over a week there, you get a lot of movement, a lot of interesting things there. So, but the vacation was great. We had a great time. We walked over 60 miles, so it was
whoa. Yeah,
we were all over Universal Parks and did a couple days in Disney. So it was a busy trip. Not relaxing, but certainly a very good time.
Sure. Yeah, you can't say it was relaxing, but hey, it's good. Good for you. Well, let's go back. We haven't had a chance to talk to you about it. Obviously, it was kind of a no-brainer about Brent Pry. What other developments surprised you? A lot of people expected there to be another announcement that didn't come, and now we kind of see the thought process maybe just where we are with the timing of it, with the money grant, and then yesterday's news about the money proposal that's going to come out. It'll be accepted. So that's good news for Tech. But what is just your take overall about what happened with Brent Pry and what is remained in place so far anyway with WIT?
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked last time when I was on, we pretty much at that point, both I and the rest of our crew were like, it's time to move on from Brent Pry, whether that's sooner or later. And, as we saw with the ODU debacle, that came a lot sooner. I'm interested to see how this hiring process goes, and I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Whit Babcock in the long run. Obviously, it looks like he is going to remain at the helm from a short-term standpoint. We'll see, what information comes out of this BOV get together on September 30th on that front. But I am encouraged by the fact that he's not a part of the hiring process, at least not directly, more of a consultant type role. And I'm very encouraged that we got the announcement yesterday that Bruce Arians is going to be a part of the process as well. So I think that's going to bode well for our next selection. And with the money coming in, the things that I'm looking at is like the money's great, but we've got to get a couple different things right. If there is an AD change, we've got to get that right. We've got to get the structure of the football apparatus right, whether that's a GM, CEO type role for the program. We've got to build it in a way that is not this kind of mom and pop cobbled together, just put it together and let it roll. We've got to be very deliberate with all these different choices, because the money's great, but if you're not going to do the right things with that money, none of that matters.
That's right. Well, and it sounds like my opinion is, and people may have a different opinion, it's fine. I think the coach should be involved in the GM hire. I think that works better. It makes more sense, but it sounds like they're going to have the committee and they want to have a GM in place. I think you're creating a step there, maybe forcing a relationship. I don't know, unless the GM – it's an NFL structure, but this isn't quite developed enough in the collegiate level to have those same type of NFL long-term relationships when a GM can go out and vet coaches that he may already be familiar with. How do you see that, and what would you prefer? Because it feels like they're going to go GM first before they even start the head coaching search.
I kind of see it both ways. I see it as, when you look at it, is this next coaching move going to be a long-term move, or is this going to be a right the ship, get us back into a steady background, winning, getting consistent 8 wins, doing these things, and then making your next big stab in that next hire. But also when you look at it, I think having the GM in place, I think they know the pool, the group of coaches that they're going to be looking at. So they're probably going to look at GMs they either have some relationship with those coaching candidates or have history of working with different type of minds that are similar to the pool that they're looking at. So I'm not too concerned about the GM being filled first, because I feel like that GM role may be something that is more of a long-term type role for the program, whereas the next coach may only be here for 4 or 5 years, before they're either moving on or we're doing something a little different to take the next step.
Brian Seagla joining us on the program, fresh from his 60-mile hike on his vacation from the Boundary Corner podcast. All right, so one thing, if you had a meter and you were going to say, hey, from 1 to 10 here, the pressure level to make sure, as you said, this has to be right, this third head coaching hire in the last, 9 years. I mean, how much of a emergency level is it that Tech has to do this correctly this time?
You have to get it right, because now you've got the commitment of money. And when you commit money, you're going to need to see a return on investment. And so that's where you have to get it right, because if you don't get it right, you can't go back and keep asking for more money if you're not getting the results that you want in the field. And as we know, despite what we saw with Wofford in the stands there, eventually there's going to be fan apathy to the point where folks aren't showing up to the games, folks aren't filling the restaurants and bars in Blacksburg, and there's going to be a trickle down there that you don't want to see. That's separate from this whole realignment, P2, all those shuffles that are still kind of in flux, looking from a long-term standpoint of what college football is going to look like in the next 5 to 10 years.
Looking on the field going forward here, ACC's coming up. Of course, Wofford's Wofford. I didn't even bother to break it down because it's nice that they had some confidence built. But how do you see this team segueing in? And first of all, I get a question a lot. It's potentially there, but can Philip Montgomery all of a sudden look at this as, hey, here's my tryout? If Tech ends up doing a lot better in conference games than we think, then all of a sudden he may rise to the top of the list of this coaching search. Who knows?
Yeah, and I feel like with Philip Montgomery, we're going to have to see a whole lot in these next, 8 games or so, right? So not necessarily saying he has to go out there and win out in order to be in the conversation there, but I certainly think he's going to need to do a whole lot better than I think what we're expecting over these next 8 games. And at this point, what I'm expecting over this next 8 games is at best 2 to 3 wins at best. The inconsistency that the team has shown, and the talent that they have not playing to that talent has been something that we've seen pretty consistently throughout this point. I don't know if that changes significantly under Philip Montgomery, and until I see the results of that, it's going to be really hard to have a lot of faith in the product that they're going to put out there week in, week out. Now, with that being said, going down to NC State, they've got some problems of their own, especially on defense. So I think this is a game that we still are in the conversation for. But, looking at our schedule going forward, I only see us maybe favored in 1 game, maybe the rest of the season. So it's going to be definitely a tough sled for Philip Montgomery. And if he, cobbles together, 3 or 4 wins in that run, that's probably better than I expect. But it still probably isn't good enough for him to be in the conversation as the next head coach.
Well, and I think we got a glimpse into his mindset. He was posturing, early. He immediately talked about how he needed to change the practice routine. He didn't like certain things. He wanted to let people know that, I was here. We got off to that bad start, but, I was listening to my boss at the time, the coach. But here's things I didn't like. So he was already trying to show people that there were ideas that he had that weren't being implemented. So I think he understands exactly how important this conference schedule is going to be for him. One way, either here or somewhere else.
Yeah, and I think when we looked at it, we started hearing rumors about, folks being late for practice pretty consistently, practice not starting on time, practice not ending on time, slow transition between periods of practice and stuff like that. You don't do the little things right. Eventually you don't do the big things right in games. And, whether that mindset shift is going to help on the field, to be determined. But I like that there's a degree of accountability, at least on those little things that we're not seeing under Pry as we kind of move forward.
Brian, other than obviously we've talked about it, the poor decision with the inexperienced coordinators, when did you get a vibe looking back when you guys would chat during Brent Pry's run? When did you start to really have a consistent feel, understanding that he wasn't going to be the guy long term?
I think it was when we saw last season that you had these pieces, you brought back a bunch of good talent, but for whatever reason, the inconsistencies that we had seen at moments in 2023 were all almost exacerbated last year. Once folks had tape on what we were doing, the inability to adjust and take advantage of some of the errors of the other team, like we didn't look like a prepared football team, and we didn't look like a football team that was able to adjust on the fly to take advantage of things that were going on the field. And that was a problem for me, because if you can't do those things, you're never going to be able to punch above your weight class, and you're going to drop games that you shouldn't, like a Rutgers and like a Syracuse when you have a lead. And even when you're playing well against a Clemson, making a couple of poor plays or losing focus for just a second, and all of a sudden now you're behind the 8 ball again. So we didn't take advantage of the opportunities that we had when we were playing the good teams. Think about Miami and Clemson, and then we were putting poor products out there for at least 1 or 2 quarters at a time against teams like a Rutgers or a Syracuse, where talent-wise we should have been able to get that win.
And I think, yes, 100%. But overall, too, I think the evaluation of the players that they were getting out of the portal obviously wasn't good top to bottom. There were some guys like APR who were no-brainers. Bashal Tootin obviously was already established, got better when he got to a P4. Jalen Lane was already pretty darn good at Middle Tennessee State, but never got guys that could consistently help build the program. And I guess Kyron Drones is the prime example, right? He started 2 games out of Baylor and spot starts because of injury, and then they thought that's the guy we're going to spend all of our money on to lead the program. Just those decisions, to me, I'm still always going to be confused as to how a first-time head coach went about that with his quarterback and with his coordinators. That to me just seems like the evaluation personally from him kind of always is going to be a head scratcher to me.
Yeah, when you look at Kyron Drones, it's such an interesting study, because when he is playing well, he's as good as any quarterback in the country. The problem is that he is so inconsistent, and it very much goes as the game goes. When he has confidence in this, trusting what he can do, and playing within the framework of the offense, he looks pretty good.
Yeah.
But I think his problem is that, and this may be over the course of taking too many hits because we took too long to develop the offensive line or whatever it may be, but he is either too timid, or when things start to break down, he tries to do too much. So he's not taking advantage of the plays that are there. And then when things break down, he's trying to do everything and making a bad decision with the football.
You mentioned you think maybe 2 or 3 wins going forward. As you look at this league, Miami's number 2 in the country. Everybody's jumping on the Florida State guys too. Georgia Tech's pretty good. How do you see this league overall? Is it just those 3 and everybody else? You see a huge drop-off after that? I mean, we still have so much to – and can Virginia, they have an opportunity on Friday night. They're national TV. They got Florida State coming in. If they can't make – somebody made that I think Wayne in our chat said earlier, if they can't sell that out and make that an event, UVA football may never come back. But how do you look at the league, the power structure of the league right now?
Yeah, I think even some of our fans are challenging UVA. It's like, come on, do something.
Right.
And I mean, and I know you talk to Dwight Vick all the time as well. And, we talk to Dwight as well. And he's definitely of the mindset that a good UVA is a good thing for Virginia Tech, because it creates that healthy competition and it pushes both teams to be better. And, the challenge is there for them to go out there and not only fill that stadium, but put out a good showing against what appears to be a very good Florida State team, not necessarily a team we thought was going to be great. It was a lot of uncertainty around them. Like, we knew the talent was there, and we just needed to see if they could, last year they moneyballed and tried to get a bunch of, portal guys in there. The chemistry just didn't work. Looks like they did a little bit better with that this year with the players that they brought in and the mix of talent and skill that they have in there now. yeah, I think there isn't a steep drop off after those first three. I think it's more of kind of a gradual decline. So I think the league is still somewhat deep. I think a Syracuse could punch up and do some things against some of those teams. I think there's a couple others like UVA out there that could do that as well. You're probably hurting yourself a little bit with NC State kind of taking a pretty big step back this year. Obviously, Virginia Tech thought they were going to be a better team than they are. So there's definitely a little bit more of a drop off than I think I anticipated. I kind of anticipated a top 2 or 3 with, Louisville and, Clemson taking a big step back as well. That hasn't helped the league overall depth wise. But I still think there's a whole lot of teams kind of in that middle segment that can definitely go out there and give those top 3 a run for their money.
Brian Seagla joining us from the Boundary Corner podcast as the sun is now glistening in my window here.
Hey, you got a glow.
I got a glow right now because I'm talking to you. That's why.
That's right.
All right, so here we go. I think it's far too soon, but people love it. Fans love it. Let's speculate. Head coaches. Let's just say this. Who's the type of coach you would like to see? I won't ask for names, like who you think's the leading person, because I don't think there is any kind of candidates right now. They don't have a committee, for God's sakes, much less trying to. But who's the type of coach you would like to see take over in Blacksburg?
I think a guy like Dan Mullen could be a steady hand on this program. And when I look at a type of coach that I want, I think the next hire at minimum has to be that high floor type candidate. I think we've took kind of a couple shots of, well, if these things work out, then we could potentially, see some big things. And obviously both of them haven't for various reasons. I think we need to get a sure thing in terms of a guy that can go out there and certainly get you to a bowl every year, probably get you 8 wins every year, and then every 4 or 5 years try to punch up and be in the conversation in November to take a trip to Charlotte. So a guy like Dan Mullen's going to give you that. He's got a history of not only developing guys, pretty good recruiter, understands the structure of P4 competition, has a really good network of coaches that he can bring in, and has won more or less everywhere he's went. And Florida probably moved on from him a little bit quicker than they needed to, especially considering what we've seen since he's moved on. So that's a candidate that I've got in my radar there. I think if you got the Brinks truck ready, you might make a run at Kirk Signetti, but that's probably a pie in the sky type mindset. But I think Dan Mullen's definitely on that radar as far as reasonable candidates are concerned.
The only thing about Mullen, from what I've been told from somebody in coaching, he has no interest in the job. Zero.
Yeah.
He lives in Vegas. He wanted to be out at Vegas. He's doing a great job there. So we'll see if that changes, because as you said, money talks. It does talk. Absolutely. Well, they had a chance at Signetti, but they didn't want to talk to him 4 years ago. And I can't imagine leaving the Big Ten, to be honest with you.
Oh, I know. And you got a gig right now where
he's getting everything he wants.
And you're already exceeding expectations.
Correct.
So at what point is, they're not going to fire him for winning 8 games like he would get if he was at a, another bigger level P4, even Big Ten job like a Penn State or a or something like that. So he's definitely at a spot that has reasonable expectations for his output, and he is exceeding those in spades so far.
Well, it's going to be fascinating how this all goes down. The money thing is a really good thing. We knew that was going to happen, though. We had people kind of, and I think you even mentioned it may have just been some public posturing, and all this, because I think they kind of knew how this was going to go. This was kind of put out there on purpose, and now here it is, the money, yay, and they're going to vote on it. So they won't have any of that excuses, will they? It's going to be what? What do you think? Anywhere from $8 to $10 million a year to get the guy that they want, probably.
Probably $8 to $10 million a year is going to be where the benchmark is. That's about the average of what high level P4 coaches are going for now. Our last 2 have been in the $5 million range, which was probably necessary given the salary pool that we had for coaching and everything else. But with this influx of money, you're certainly going to need to take a big stab, not settle. But in circling back to what we were talking about earlier, I think when you talk about putting the GM first, I think that's actually a selling point to the coaches, only because one of the things that we were getting turned down for in this last cycle was that, well, you don't have these apparatus in place for my success. So literally the coach is going to be on the chopping block if you don't go out there and get wins. And now you've got an apparatus in place, a support structure in place that can hopefully supplement what the coach is doing off the field and let them focus on just wins and losses a little bit more.
So what's coming up on the Boundary Corner this week? When are you guys going to start making your game picks and so forth?
All right, so Wednesday night we're going live. We're going to do a little bit of a brief recap of Wofford. I think we're going to focus a lot on what's happening with these money discussions and potential coaching hires, kind of where we're landing right now, and we'll do a little bit of a NC State preview. I think, like I said earlier, they've got an offense, but they don't have much of a defense right now. And I think there's still an opportunity for the Hokies to go down there and shock them a little bit. I think, like I said, talent-wise, I don't think there's a huge discrepancy. But, again, we still haven't seen how many folks are going to sit out this week, how many folks are going to get in the portal as a result of this regime change. So there's still a lot in flux there. But I think we can go out there and put a pretty good show on and let the chips fall where they may.
Has that surprised you? We haven't seen – you're right. We haven't seen that activity yet, really. Nothing major. We haven't seen that just assembly line of players leaving for the portal.
Yeah, we saw Dante Lovett jump in there pretty quick. I know his relationship with Coach Pry was really, really tight.
Yeah.
So that didn't necessarily surprise me. It surprised me maybe how quick it happened, but it didn't surprise me that he was one of the guys that entered the portal. I definitely anticipate at least a handful others. We had some guys set out against Wofford. I don't know if they were healthy scratches, and if they were healthy scratches, is that a sign of things to come? But we haven't heard anybody else jumping in at this moment, but I definitely anticipate that, and whether that starts trickling in after the NC State game or sometime later this week, to be determined.
Well, Brian, as always, great stuff. Such great content what you guys have at the Boundary Corner podcast. It's so much fun, and you guys do a great job of breaking it down. And my last question to you is, did you come away from Disneyland with a pair of the bunny ears? Did you wear the hat, the Mickey Mouse hat?
So my wife came back with a fresh pair of ears. She also got a couple from Universal. We went to Universal. We went to the new park there, and they had the Nintendo World. So she came back with the King Boo, with the one that's covered up and the other one that's like ready for attack. So she was excited about that. So we came back with a good handful of souvenirs for sure.
That's cool, man. What all they have at Universal? They have like just great movie stuff and things like that. I'd like to see that. That'd be cool.
Yeah. So the new park was kind of cool because it's got a Nintendo World. It's got something with Harry Potter. It's got a How to Train Your Dragon area, and then it's got one that's just focused on like classic Universal monsters. So that was a cool part. Getting to check that out. That was brand new, and definitely a good time walking around there and seeing all the new stuff.
That's awesome. Well, man, listen, I'm glad you had a blast, and thank you so much for coming on. And have a great week. We'll be watching and see what you guys come up with the game picks coming up on Saturday.
Appreciate it, Rick. You have a good one.
All right, brother. Have a great weekend. See you next week. Thank you. There you go. Ryan Seagla from the Boundary Corner. They're great. Check them out. If you haven't been, you're missing out if you're a Tech fan. They do a great job. They have a whole panel on their podcast. It's a lot of fun to watch. Hit us up on our McClellan Chiropractic chat room right now, as many of you have throughout the day, and also on our professional door text line. Hit me up. We'd love to hear from you, wherever you might be. Again, a lot going on in the program this week. Matt Roan joins us tomorrow. Mike Burnett will be tomorrow. Mike's not today because Mike's traveling with Bill today. So no Mike today. So most of the people that I've heard from want gray T-shirts, either on the text line or in chat. Gray over black. Okay. Rodney, tell him we want gray over black. Gray seems to be the thing. As a matter of fact, I don't think anybody said just black. They said gray or black or just gray. There's like a dozen here. Gray. Okay. All right. I hear you. Your will shall be done. Interesting. Like I say, I'm gonna stick to my source that tells me that Dan Mullen's not interested because he shares the same agent. I'm gonna stick with that. I know it's fun to speculate. Now, in terms of types of coaches, sure, he makes a lot of sense. He's the type of guy you want, but it's not going to be him unless they drive the Brinks truck up and he says no. What's Dan Mullen? How old is Dan Mullen, by the way? Let's see here. How old is Dan? Is he in his 60s or is he in his 50s? He's 53. Okay, so out in Vegas at 53, that's a pretty good place to be. Thank you, Rodney. Thank you. I'm guessing it's kind of that heather gray too. Like this is a dark gray shirt. You don't want charcoal. You want like a Belichick BDST cutoff gray hoodie. Or a pairing for our conference opener. I really appreciate Rick Watson and everybody at BDST at YouTube for sending me my brand new cutoff hoodie. Really appreciate the picture he added on the back of me and Jordan on the beach. And I don't know how he did it, but somehow in the threading of my hoodie, they incorporated strawberries. Just the way Jordan smells. Go Heels. No, we won't have cut off gray hoodies. But we have them, and when we have them, we will introduce you to them. Here on the text line, throwing money at the problem is a huge mistake for Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech needs to earn it and understand that 1999 was 26 years ago. Yeah, well, throwing money at it is one way of looking at it, but getting the money up to realistic levels is the other thing they need to do. But to that point, and what we've talked about, it's one thing to have the money, but what do you do with it? And you have to make the right decisions 100%. And they haven't done that regarding football for a long, long time. We thought they did. I mean, you can be a revisionist if you want because it didn't work out, but there wasn't one person who disagreed with the Justin Fuente hire. Everybody was excited. They got national attention for going out and finding maybe the hottest group of 5 coach out there. Boy, what a fit he's going to be. It was a coup of all coups. And the one thing Witt has said that still resonates, maybe the best thing that he said that Justin Fuente was the 5-star recruit. They ended up having a 2-star career. It just didn't work out for whatever reason. So he'll never get criticism from me for that hire because he nailed it at the time on paper. It just, things got off the rails quickly and the egos get involved. And that's my whole thing with this GM/head coach structure. There's so much ego that goes into it. And the more money you make, the more ego that you have. And that's what you can't ever assume about human nature. That's why I'm going to stick with, I think you should have the coach instead of the GM. And I think there's going to be a lot of coaches who aren't going to want that. And I think it's going to be part of the interview process. Okay, so you have your GM in place. I don't know this person. I just, if you're going to be all in with the next coach that you hope pulls you out of the dregs, you're already committed to the committee. You're already going to utilize the committee. So you're going to have different people that are going to want this head coach. So let me ask you this. If the AD that you've left in place for now isn't going to have anything to do with football, who's going to hire the GM before the coach? Is the committee going to hire both? Isn't that a lot to put on the plate of a committee, a group of people who may not even be involved or understand the workings of intercollegiate athletics, much less know the football candidates out there, to say that they have to hire both? Is this going to be a presidential hire? Are you going to allow Witt to hire the GM but not the football coach? You see what I'm saying? I like that, Prometheus. I think everybody should subscribe from their wife's phone. That would get you to 1,000 pretty quick. Look, we can get to 1,000 if each of you, the 500 plus subscribers, gets one person to subscribe. It'll go right up. Please spread the word. Remind them it's free. Prometheus says keeping wit is the only thing I don't agree with. Yeah, and that's what I've heard that verbatim. I haven't heard one person say it's a good idea, but that seems to be the way that things are headed. That's my question. I think it's an honest question. It's one I'll ask Mike Burnham tomorrow. I mean, if the committee's going to hire the coach and Witt's not involved in the football hirings, who's going to hire the GM? I mean, that's the question I don't know the answer. But does that not make sense? Who's going to hire the GM? The committee? The president? If not Witt and not the football coach, who's hiring him? So it just kind of exacerbates my point even more. I think you need to have the coach be the person who hires the GM. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. All right? All right. Here we go. I want to thank Family Fencing, Jason Green. I see you in the chat room. Give them a call today. Check them out. Finance options are available. They're locally owned. Commercial, residential, agricultural. Get a free quote. 540-200-8294. No dig installation system. No mess. No hassle to your yard. No hassle to your body. Only good things from McClellan Chiropractic. Mark Hundley over in Peppers Ferry Road. Go see him. Sponsor of our chat room. The modern technology blows me away. Absolutely blows me away. Thanks to Jonathan Sweet and Tim Miller, Pulaski County Sports Entertainment. We've been reading you all the great stuff and their news releases that are coming up. It's going to get even bigger and better. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. Go see Charles Lee. Tell them we sent you. No, 3 of you have at least already, hopefully more. That's what this is all about. BDST fan question of the week presented by the attorney Ryan Price, 701 West Main Street. How many ACC wins do you see Virginia Tech coming up with this season? Thanks to National Bank, Larry Ramsey, new president and CDO, member FDIC, exclusive banking partner of BDST, been with them for 35 years. If you're looking to change your bank, you should give them a call, go by and see them and check out all the great things that they have, rates and so forth. And thanks to Travis Williams, Everybody Professional Door Incorporated, residential, commercial garage doors. Nobody does garage doors any better. Nobody. 38 years in business tells you that. Started by his dad. They've been dedicated to the community, and that's what this show, I hope, is and can be, dedicated to the community, and has been for a long, long time. A long, long time. So thanks to all of you. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. All right. See, I told you Louise was working on the design. She's got a beige design going. We'll check that out too. What was my high school car? Oh, I don't know, what was the year? Was it a 76, 77? Yeah. I had a 1978, I believe, Plymouth Duster. That thing had a 351 Cleveland in it. And that thing would get down and crawl. Let's see here. See if we can find an image. I had a Plymouth Duster is what I had. Light blue. It looked a lot, here you go. It looked a lot like that. Can you see that at all? Yeah. Except it was light blue. It had a white stripe down the side. That was my high school car. Man, that thing. My dad's car, I grew up on a farm and he drove trucks, but he had that Duster. And surprisingly, my brother didn't want it because he had bought a truck. And I gobbled up the Duster and had a great few years of driving that bad boy. Thing was loud in a good way. Anybody, you see them now, they're refurbished. Beautiful, beautiful car. Beautiful car. But yeah, I love that car. And then that's when I got into Jeeps, because a little later on when I started college, the Duster was no longer reliable. And it was gone. And my Uncle Howard, remember I told you the story about my Uncle Howard? I would watch his house over the summer. He's such a generous man. He had a lot of money. He was an entrepreneur, self-made man, had businesses out west, California, where he lived most of his life. And he gave me he said, here, just take my Jeep Wagoneer, the old Wagoneer with the wood panels on the side. And that's when I started driving Jeeps. That's when I fell in love with Jeeps, was during that time. I haven't had a lot of cars, I usually keep them for a long, long time. Chipper Dirk drives an SS Camaro, Paul says. Rodney said you're already liking the Tar Heels light blue with the white stripe. It was very similar to Tar Heel blue. It was very similar. Oh, I can't even tell you what I'd do to have that Wagoneer. And if you go out and you try to buy one refurbished, I mean, they are at an unbelievable price point right now. Man, I love that vehicle. That vehicle is still my all-time favorite vehicle. The Jeep Wagoneer, that original Wagoneer my uncle let me use. That's still my all-time favorite vehicle, without question. And I've had a lot of Jeeps, but I've had Jeeps. But that, you didn't know how good you had it. It was this really cool looking, kind of like a midnight blue with the paneling on the side. Man. Yeah, you're 100% right, Wayne. I would love to be able to find one that I could afford and just have that bad boy. Absolutely. Who knows? Maybe if we had 1,000 subscribers and we can keep showing the revenue coming in. Maybe I'll gift myself that one day. That's all you have to do to get to 1,000, though. Get one person since we have over 500 people, get one person to subscribe and like. Remind them it's free. We got to take this to the next level. And by then, hopefully you'd raise it even more. But that's how this thing works through YouTube. It's a great mechanism. YouTube is it's got its criticisms, it's got all of its quirks, but man, they've been extremely helpful. Extremely helpful. And very supportive. The person that I hear from, they're very supportive, and they are very good at keeping track of absolutely everything. There's nothing they miss. So I've been very impressed with my interactions with them. Very, very impressed. Yeah. Jason's got a Jeep. There you go. Yeah. Aren't a lot of real Jeeps out there today, but if you know one, you know. They made a huge design overhaul mistake about a decade ago that I think they're still trying to recover from. I have a Gladiator. Right here. Hang on. All right. Here. It looks just like this. This was Wayne got me this. I don't know how he found something that looks just like my vehicle. There it is. Yep, right there. That's my car right there. I think I just knocked everything else down. But anyway, Love them. And if you're part of the Jeep community, you know. And when you got that front right there, see that front? You got the actual grill. That's when there's just that acknowledgement. You wave, the wave comes natural on the road. Nothing better than waving at fellow Jeepers. And I'm sorry, you're not part of the community if you drive one of the ones that look like a sedan. There you go. There you go. Got some cool stuff back here. Mike's still working on the shelf. We had a design change we had to make, so it's coming. See, the way this wall is, there's no. He had something that he came up with that needed to be bolted to the wall, but this wall cuts off right here. See right here? So I can't do that. So it just has to be something that sits behind me that I can move in and out. And I can move the table back and create more room, which is what I'll probably do. So there you go. Yes, I do. I do have ducks, but keep in mind that you don't buy any of the ducks for yourself. The ducks get gifted to you. I've done it to several Jeep people as well. You go out and there's just one sometimes tied to your door. It's just a thing, the Jeep and the duck. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. But I'd love to have the Wagoneer back. Man, oh man. I mean, it probably got 11 miles to the gallon. Whatever it was, but yeah, that was a special vehicle. I've been fortunate. I've had some cool cars. Either I inherited or were allowed to drive that, that kind of, it creates your personality. I think the car that you drive as a younger person kind of helps mesh your personality when you're a little older, a little bit. I was very fortunate. I never have been a gearhead. I've always respected cars. When people have really cool ones, I'm the first one to go, man, that is so cool. I see some of these new trucks. I'm just like, dude, that is awesome. I mean, I can recognize when something's really nice, but I'm not a gearhead by any stretch. But I've been pretty fortunate. Been pretty fortunate to have cool things. And now I just, now I have a Jeep. I had an Armada, Nissan Armada. When I first started having kids, it had the 3 rows, and I liked it. It was big, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of the Wagoneer, the way it drove and sitting up high. I can never be down low in a car again. You'll never see me have a sports car. Now, maybe one day I go and I find myself that 1958 candy apple red Corvette with the white dimple, and I might drive that around. But I don't like being down the road. I got to be up high. Big Al says the official VT black. Well, no. Went from the Duster at 5 miles to the gallon to the shaggin' wagon. I love that Duster, man. If you know, you know, with the 351 inside that bad boy. It had an incident right there in Dublin, Route 11. We lived in the farm right off the old road, and I was coming down, and I don't know where I was coming from. I had not been drinking, but I was driving pretty quickly, very fast. And there was a police officer going in the other direction. And I was flying. And immediately you could hear, it had the window down, you could hear him hit his brakes. And he turns around. I'm like, oh, Lord. And I was relatively new to the Duster and driving. So I remember my house was pretty close by, and you have a long, long driveway to get through the lane. So I remember just flooring it. And getting to my driveway, pulling up as far as I could, turning the lights out, ducking down, and then I wait, and then I hear, he goes flying by, and I'm like, oh, wow. I made it. Not proud of it, but that happened. That happened. That did happen. Big show tomorrow. Keon Brown, Damian Sordelette, David Teal. We got a lot going on tomorrow. I got to figure tomorrow out. Mike Burnip, Matt Rowe. We may have to do some adjusting this week. We'll see. I have to look at all that tomorrow. Marty Smith, Steve Ragsdale on Thursday. Looking forward to that. Mullet and Duster are perfect together, like peanut butter and chocolate. I didn't have the long hair very long. What I mean to say is, I didn't have the long hair for a long sequence of time. Had a 97 TJ BDST Jeep Club. Yeah, there you go, Jason says. Yeah. I mean, the first vehicles I learned to drive were farm vehicles, farm use trucks, tractors. So I was always sitting high up, growing up. That's how I learned to drive. So I guess that's kind of transferred over now into my older years, That's how I grew up driving. I knew more about the inner workings of tractors than I did vehicles for a long time. Long time. But Mike Burnip tomorrow, because today he's traveling with Bill, just to get you updated. I think Coach Ragsdale on Thursday is going to talk a little about Phil Robbins too. He and Marty both. Of course, we mentioned that yesterday. Phil Robbins, a legendary coach, passed away. He was at Christiansburg and, of course, 7 state titles at Powell Valley. We've lost another amazing example of coaching and leadership for young people in Coach Robbins. And I know Norm Linneberg, who we just lost, had such great respect for him and all these coaches. And we talk about it a lot, Jermaine and I, and everybody knows that it was an era that does not come back. We have good young coaches, but coaches today, the atmosphere is so much different around it that I just don't think that their longevity can ever be assumed like it used to be when you had these coaches who were so ingrained in their community. It just, the environment doesn't allow it anymore. And it's very unfortunate. So we have some good young coaches. I think the coaches up here at Auburn are doing an amazing job rebuilding that program. The 3-1. It's so cool. But so many things have changed. And, you're not being a stick in the mud or get off my lawn. I know things had to change. The way we take care of athletes today had to change. That's one aspect of it. I can't even begin to tell you how many times I'm sure I was concussed when I played at Pulaski County. I mean, and what was it? You would sit out for a second, you drink some water, and then you'd run right back out on the field. I know things had to change regarding the care. Sometimes punishment would be that you couldn't have water. If you did that today, you'd lose your job the next day. Or when it was the hottest point of the day, you had to go out and run fifths. Everybody knows what fifths are, right? Flag to flag of the football field, corner to corner. The worst thing about practice. I can't even tell you how many times I puked. And I was in good shape. Paul says, let's just say it, we're soft. My coach used to call me, well. Yeah, it's changed a lot. And I think for whatever reasons, there's a lot of exterior influences that shouldn't be there that have overtaken and engulfed these programs and really the role of the athletic director. It's the nicest way I can say it. Hokey Bob says, you got water? See? I never took salt tablets. They were offered, though. It's funny you say that, Rodney. They were there on a table. To lay them out on the training table. But I never did. I never did take the salt tablets. I got several people saying that. Yeah, I never did, though. I never was a guy that got really dehydrated. I still don't. Like, it never – I mean, I would drink water when I thought I needed it, but I never was parched. And I used to perspire a lot. I think it helped me make travel team. If I could get Coach Flincham on here today, he would tell you, I would always show up at the end of practice and I was just saturated. I remember Coach Hicks. Hey, look, Rick, we got a little sophomore out here for the first time. Look at him. He's 10 pounds heavier because look how wet his uniform is. And it would help. It helped me. Bikie shorts plus a coach meant serious business. Oh, there's no question. Coach Hicks every day. Whistle. Sometimes a visor. Sometimes a T-shirt. Most days not. Bike shorts. Socks up to the calves. You're going to work your ass off. You better get ready. Yeah, Randy Flincham. Randy Flincham called me Pat Watson. Because he coached West Virginia with Pat Watson. Yep, Randy Flincham. He was my position coach. He was my linebackers coach. Also on the offensive line. And look, I wasn't a standout player. I was solid. I was consistent. I was reliable. I wasn't a star. I had to work very hard. But I had some instincts. I could play. Yep, Perry Reese was on that staff. Coach Reese. Great people. People that help shape your life. And I don't know if parents and extra activities outside of it allow coaches to do that as much anymore. And I think these coaches want to be a positive influence. We have some really good ones, but there's just so much natural non-trust now and suspicion and so forth, and the generations have changed. But yeah, it's a different time. So when we lose these coaches, like when you lose Coach Lindbergh, who will always mean so much to me, and I didn't know Coach Robbins very well just when we interacted before Radford would play Powell Valley, but he was always making you feel so welcome. It has a huge impact, a massive impact. Are pep rallies still a thing? I don't know. Pep rallies were big. They were big on that Friday morning before the big game. And they were packed out. The band sounded great. The cheerleaders did their thing. Pep rallies were cool. They were a big thing. You had the pep rally, you'd go out, and in those days, look, if you came into Ken J. Dobson Stadium, you will lose. You will lose. You're not coming in there on a Friday night with Jack Turner, Michael J. Smith, Rodney Landreth, Johnny Myers, Wormy Akers, KG Holmes. You're not coming in there. You're not winning. You're going to jump back on your bus. You're going to be beat all to hell, and you're going to be pretty dejected. So then you'd have the pep rally, you'd have the game, and then you'd have the sock hop after. Yes, the sock hop. And I'm telling you, man, the sock hop was just such a relief. And I always give Todd Grantham a hard time. Todd Grantham, now the defensive coordinator at Oklahoma State, who has one of the most outstanding coaching resumes of anybody in the country. and you'd have the sock hop. And Todd never came off the field. He was a 2-time All-State player. Ended up playing at Virginia Tech. Pound for pound to this day, the 2 best high school football players I ever played with were Todd Grantham and Jack Turner. You didn't walk near Jack Turner on game day if you were wearing a different color uniform. Anyway, Todd would be so tired, but he was a very popular dude as well. He may have been class president as well. He's very smart, but he would go up and he wanted to be involved in sock hop. Halfway in, and he was exhausted. Like I said, he never came out of the game. He played offense. He played defense. He played specialty. He never left the field. And he'd be up there in the sock hop like this, just kind of hovering back and forth. Didn't want to let down his girlfriend at the time. May have been who he ended up marrying. Just trying to be involved. And I'll never forget that image of him being so tired, but yet he still wanted to be that guy. So good. So good. The Jamboree. Did we play Jamborees then? Somebody can help me out. Yeah, we did have cheerleaders assigned to our lockers. Yes. Cheerleaders would decorate you'd go in, right? You'd leave at the end of the day on Thursday. You'd go in on Friday and you'd have like your jersey cut out up and they'd have it decorated. Absolutely. School spirit, man. It was such a cool time. You don't get that anymore. I don't know I would like to think it's still going on. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody can let me know if you're working in a school now. That's still a thing. No Jamboree now. I'm trying to think what we did then. We always, at some point, we ended up playing Anacostia out of D.C. year in and year out. They were supposedly this great athletic team. All these athletes from up there in the inner city, and we would always be up 42-0 at halftime because they didn't want any part of what Pulaski County had to bring. Zach says, a shame Radford and Pulaski don't play annually. I know, 100%. It makes zero sense. Whoever was involved in the decision on either side to end that series, to not even play in the foundation game, you don't get it. You don't get it. No, you just don't get it. Jamborees were fun, though. When I was broadcasting for Radford, we'd go up to Graham. Glenn Carlock and Norm Lindenberg were very close in the Graham Gritterama. And we would broadcast that every year. We had sponsors, and that's how we got into our football broadcast. I'd go up and sit at Mitchell Stadium up in Bluefield, and the Graham Gritterama was great. And you'd play a half, couple of halves, and you would see all these different teams from around the region. Richlands would be up there, be some smaller schools up there, Bluefield and Graham. I mean, it was awesome. Everybody remembers the Graham Gritterama. It was a big event, big event. And you'd sit up there and you would broadcast. And I was just getting started. It was my first broadcasting job, was calling Bobcats football games. And you'd sit up there and they'd bring you hot dogs and hamburgers. What? I'm calling a game and I'm getting fed? Really? I think I'm going to like this broadcasting thing. The Graham Gritterama. I still have some old programs somewhere. And you'd always get a good test for your team. We'd go out and play, and Coach Lindenberg, we'd play the first scrimmage, and then Coach Lindenberg would come and talk to us on the air in between to get ready for the second. It's just the best of times, man. The best of times. You appreciated them at the time, but boy, when you look back on them, because of the people involved, man, oh man, wouldn't change it for the world. Wouldn't change it for the world. And also wouldn't change coming back on BDST here on YouTube. Thank you so much. We're just about done for the day. We got a huge show tomorrow. I don't know how it's going to work out yet. Massive show Thursday, massive show Friday. Hopefully it gives you reason to tell people to go out and subscribe, like, and share the program. Thank you so much. great morning. Thanks to Marva in Miami. Thanks to Brian Seagla. I hope we made your start of your Tuesday a little bit better. We will see you on Wednesday with a lot of stuff. Join us then. Please subscribe, like, share the channel. Be good, everybody.